Hello everybody, welcome to the first channel update video for 2020. I'm going to get into the status of the current series that are going on, agenda for the future, what I see coming up this year and especially the next few months, etc. And then at the end, after all of that, I'm going to backload a little bit of personal information, stuff on the new computer. You've probably noticed that the channel is now operating under a new name, and so I wanted to sort of explain the why on that. The old name, when I originally chose it in 2013, I didn't do anything with the channel really of substance for a few years. I sort of was a little bit too clever with it, I think. Whenever I've told people what the name is, it was often difficult for them to find it, remember how to spell it, that kind of thing. Obviously, I don't want something that's unclear. But even more than that, a couple years after I'd chosen the name, the first few letters of it came to be used in an unfortunately popular derogatory term. You could perhaps call it a slur, but definitely not something that I want to be associated with this channel, whatever else it is. I want it to be about respect for everybody, about harmony, about a place where there's open and authentic communication. That's not really going to fit together with the connotation that was out there. So I'd like to thank Flypast from the Arson Discord for pointing out that unfortunate situation a couple, 3 weeks ago, and that sort of put me on the path to getting things changed. He also does have a hobbyist type of channel with an interesting approach to AI War 2 early game, and is a pretty good player of the game himself. And the video he's done, an explanation video on how to get into the game, I've linked down in the description below. It's more of a faster paced that will probably appeal to more of the competitive RTS gamer crowd, but least I can do is point people towards that, and those of you who enjoy the game may find that interesting. So going forward, and hopefully permanently, I have no intention of changing it again. I will be known on YouTube as Strategic Sage, which I think is more descriptive of what I'm trying to be about here. Informative content for the thoughtful gamer, and also a little clearer, perhaps easier to remember, but definitely not including any of the potential negativity or miscommunication that was previously there. At present, there are 4 different ongoing series that I'm working on. Obviously, AI War 2 in the 3rd run of Faction Frenzy, which unfortunately is currently suspended temporarily because I'm waiting on some fixes that are not playing nice with the current setups. So once patches are out for that, then I will be resuming that playthrough. That's probably going to be the last run I do on AI War 2 before the new expansion, which is going to be coming sooner rather than later, according to the informed rumor mill from official volunteers. When that hits, we'll definitely be hitting the expansion hard and delving into all of that fun stuff. Depending on how long Faction Frenzy takes, there may be a gap in between there, but I do not expect it to be particularly long if that does happen. In terms of AI War Classic, I have not been able to do any of those since switching over the new computer, and that's mostly because I did something really stupid. I forgot to back up the save file I had for that campaign, which no longer exists. So I'm going to be reconstituting that as best I can, hopefully starting actually this weekend. Unfortunately, the original file's now lost to the digital landfill for all of time. So that will be coming back up, and of course, the Exodium Blade run is the last expansion to get through. Just going to have one brief, super high difficulty demonstration thing after that, and then probably be shelving that for the time being. Motorsport Manager is on what I expect to be its last season. Fairly early in the year, but it looks like we're going to be successful in capturing the top-level endurance title, and then after that, I will be moving on. And Particle Fleet has completed the main story. We're now in the Inception bonus campaign. Several more missions of that to go, and then we'll be into purely doing custom maps on Particle Fleet and the rest of the Creeper World series. So while AI War 2 is going to continue in some form for a while, the other 3 projects are going to be wrapping up, I would say, sometime between now and the summer at the latest, more likely spring, unless something strange happens. And of course, that's going to leave room for new projects, which I'm excited about. Ground Control is going to be the first one. I'm hoping to get to that sometime in April, possibly even a little bit sooner. There are many other possibilities. I've been considering more and more starting the historical mega project that I've talked about briefly before at some point the middle of the year or before. I'm not certain on that, but if I do decide to do that, I'll definitely talk more about that when we get to the second quarter, as there's still a fair amount of planning and thought that needs to go into it. Of course, the Creeper World saga is eventually going to continue with Creeper World 4. Right now, the latest word is that a lot of the experimentation that happened with the game is winding down. And this comes directly from the developer on the Knucklecracker Discord. He said that the overall work on the game is over halfway complete, but they usually take 3 to 4 years on them. So, it's coming, but it's not expected to be coming imminently. But the experimentation phase is over and working on stuff that needs to be done for the completion of the game, but there's still quite a lot in that, designing the story missions, the whole front-end UI for the game, etc. And that's as of roughly November. It is not yet in beta. It's not considered to be near beta. So I'm estimating second half of this year or even into 2021 release. But whenever that does come, obviously, I'll be playing that quite a bit. I'm also seriously considering shifting the focus of the channel a little bit, moving towards more informative / tutorial type of content. And the best way I can describe what I'm probably looking to do is that I think I'm better as a teacher than I am as an entertainer, although I obviously try to incorporate as much both as is within my abilities. So for games like Creeper World and Motorsport Manager and that type in the future, rather than doing a big long series with like all of the challenges and stuff, or all of the Alpha Sector missions in Creeper World 3, stuff like that, I'm more likely to pick a representative sampling of things, do different scenarios, maybe challenge type scenarios. Tutorial doesn't mean basic, but rather just having a more focused approach where I can demonstrate, methods or concepts are necessary there, as opposed to just the more traditional, let's play type of format where it's just showing everything. So more instructional as opposed to experiential, I guess, might be a good way to describe that. As always, I value feedback from the community very highly. I've always said constructive criticism is the number one resource I have. That absolutely is still true. Really appreciate all the new people that have been joining and all of the comments that people have made. Please keep those coming, because the more you tell me what you like and don't like, the more that I can intelligently respond to that. And I really do view this channel not as my thing, but as a collaboration, because it goes nowhere without people watching it. Both of those elements, myself and the viewing community, are essential or it doesn't work. And then on the personal front, some people were interested in the new PC that I'm now operating off of. Previously, I had Asus M5A97R 2.0 motherboard that's about 8 years old. I'm now operating on Gigabyte B450 Aorus M chipset. The CPU is up from FX 4300 to the Ryzen 2nd generation 2600X. My graphics card was a GT 960 and is now Radeon FX 570, all of which are big upgrades, and I can upgrade further with the current motherboard I have. Everything's working well. I'm pretty much totally used to the new system, so that's been great. 2020 is shaping up to be a huge year for me personally, potentially, and a couple things that I'm working towards that don't directly affect the channel, but do indirectly affect it. I'm working on getting out of debt, paid off some last year, and hoping to get the rest of the way out this year. And obviously, if that happens, then I will have more possibility of investing in doing things like getting the equipment I would need to potentially do live streaming and just, from the technical side, improving what I do here on YouTube. Another aspect, and really the most important thing I need to do this year, is dealing with personal health. I've been overweight for most of my adult life. Lost about 45 pounds in the last 4 months, roughly, since early September, and I got a lot longer ways to go than that. But the healthier I can live and the better habits I can form, and that, obviously, the more energy I can have and devote to things which will benefit the audience here. So those are things that I'm excited about, focused on, hoping they will continue. And I think that should just about do it for the current state of the channel. As always, all questions, comments, criticism, whatever it is strongly encouraged. And I'll be back with another quarterly update sometime in April. Thanks for watching, everybody.